in Podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that growler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live 203 Better on Draft podcast. It is December. We took off Black Friday. I hope everyone had a good shopping experience. I bought a house, therefore I've been buying a lot of things for said house. But we definitely have an interesting mix mash of people here in studio today. We're going to start to my right. Ed, what's going on?
Not too much, Ken. How are you?
I'm good. I am pouring myself a nice little beer we'll get to in a minute, but what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some Crooked Pecker.
Crooked Pecker. You did a review on them, didn't you, on Better on Draft?
I did. I did a review of this exact beer. They're liquid white.
You must have liked it.
I did like it. I thought it was a nice gateway milk stout with coffee. It's roasty, if anyone would like a little sipper of it.
Well, you can find all of his reviews, both beer and brewery, and the lists.
Event list.
Event list. Yes, everything over at betterondraft.com. Next to Ed is one of our sponsors. You can find him nearly every night over at Zatuna Liquor on Rochester Road, just south of M59. What's up, Jack?
Hey, not much. Thanks for having me. Drinking an Austin Brothers Triple Berry Sorbet. Austin Brothers, great brewery out of Alpena, Michigan. They've been doing a great job in both their and everything, actually. Stouts, IPAs, sours. I've never had a bad beer from them yet, and figured that'd be a good beer to share with everyone here. Not too high in ABV, 5.5, so you could drink a few and still maintain a good level.
Yep, you can actually listen to the episode that we had Austin Brothers on episode 111. That's over in our archives, though. So if you go to Better on Draft archives, you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find this. So it's on a separate podcast. Rob, what are you drinking over there?
I am drinking. First off, I survived Thanksgiving, so
Congratulations.
I know. There's nothing crazier than driving to the southwesternmost point of Kentucky with 11, 13, and 14-year-old girls.
That's an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 14-year-old, not 11, 13, and 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It still
Syntax.
doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds awful.
I mean, 3 little girls versus 11 is.
That is true.
I made it.
I mean, do you want to have 8 more?
Fuck no. I think 3 is good. We might actually, we may be working on a 4th. It depends on.
This is my surprised face that you're telling me this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're still waiting to hear back from the adoption agency about the whole thing. So we'll see. But at the moment, I am drinking Full Grown Man from Tups Brewery. This is a brewery that is out of McKinney, Texas. I got a coworker of mine whose father actually helped co-found this brewery out there, and she came back from Thanksgiving with a 6-pack for me. So
Nice.
this sucker is an Imperial Stout, because you know how much I love Imperial Stouts. These things
Almost
are
as
amazing.
much as you love Gozas and sours.
Exactly not. But if anybody
But you're
wants.
drinking it anyway?
Oh, and actually, she actually brought me my coworker. She brought me a couple of their like sour peach IPAs from Tups. So I'm actually looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. But you know me with gozes and sours. It's more miss than hit. No, we'll see what happens with those.
And next to you, former Better on Draft writer, brewery reviewer, Wendy. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
You were actually on the show too once before.
Yep.
Do you remember that episode number?
I do not. It's been a couple years.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
It was like 10 something.
Was that already in the hundreds?
Yes, because
It was episode 52.
that was because we were supposed to be on for episode 50, and I was in Boston on a beer tour.
Oh, I can see Boston's more important
had
than
to
Better on
change.
Draft.
Yeah, you know that this stuff happens.
What are you drinking over there?
I am drinking an Ale Asylum Unshadowed. It is one of my favorite hefts. I have a friend that mules it to me every year from Wisconsin.
Yeah. I went there when I went to Great Taste this past summer, I went to Ale Asylum and I loved everything I had.
Yeah, this
So-
is one of my favorites. It's a go-to for me in the summer.
Very good.
Well, it's been a minute. I think I've actually drank one of them on air before, but I have an IPA, guys. It is the Keto IPA from Crankers.
Wow.
Bingo square.
Right.
I mean, is it a
rest in
bingo
peace.
square if I don't say I'm keto? I just drinking the
It is.
keto.
I think the,
Is
big,
that-
for the
is
bingo
it
square
the
is
half
keto.
square?
It is straight keto. I mean, it might as well
Anything.
just be in the middle and free square. It should just be keto. That's it.
I feel triggered, a little personally attacked.
I was going to say, Rob saying fuck anything should be the middle square as well.
Don't get me started.
Well, we actually do have one more drink that a few of us are sharing. Jack, why don't you tell us what we got in our little bourbon glasses?
Well, depends on whose glass it is. There's a couple things being shared. I brought 2 bottles of bourbon. One of them is the Zatuna Store Pick Single Barrel 1792 Full Proof, which we have right over here. And the other bottle is another Zatuna Pick from Coppercraft, which is a distillery on the west side of the state. 13-year-old bourbon, 102 proof, high rye mash bill. It's got a great flavor to it. Well, both of them have a great flavor to it. So I forgot who got what, but they're both good. I think, Ken, you got the 125 proof.
Yeah, I
which
got the
is-
17.
which is a really good bottle. Starts off a little bit more of a dry mocha notes. Right in the middle, you get a mid-cherry palate, and finishes off with a little bit of cinnamon, vanilla, and caramel notes.
That has got some heat to it, and I'm loving it.
Yep, you got
Yeah,
the same
120 proof. That's
125.
125 proof.
Damn, I want to make some cheesecakes with this shit like right now.
Let's talk about that a little. I know you definitely are our local master chef. Do you cook a lot with alcohol?
I mean, I like to when I can, and pretty much like everything that I have in terms of cakes and cheesecakes, and some cobblers, I'm always trying to find a way to get liquor in it for some reason. I mean, for the most part, depending on some things you make, sometimes it bakes off, sometimes it doesn't. And I mean, for a cheesecake, it's still sitting in the middle of a cheesecake that doesn't reach anything above 165 degrees, so it doesn't necessarily burn off. It's like when you throw this stuff into a cheesecake, it's there. And if you are a lightweight and you have a couple slices, or like if you have rum cake, which I cheat religiously on, where if it says to use a half cup of rum, I throw in a cup and a half because I want rum to be in that cake, and it will mess you up.
Quick
So I'd
question.
love to have fun with it.
So, quick question though: if you're using, if it's asking for 8 ounces, you'll use 12. You're saying,
More likely, yeah.
or if it's asking for 4 ounces, you'll use 12.
Yeah.
How
I mean,
big would the cheesecake be? Because I can't see someone actually getting, buzzed from eating that. But that's what I'm
and the thing
curious.
is, I wouldn't think so either. And it seems like at my day job, I have friends that are there who have had some of the things that I've made that has had alcohol in it. And, one of my coworkers, she might be maybe 102 pounds. She's pretty light. And she one time had a slice of the cheesecake, and then she just immediately was like, yeah, I kind of felt it after I ate that thing. And I was shocked because I felt, I know it's not going to burn off, but I know it shouldn't be as strong because of everything that's already mixed in there with it. And for her to say that, I was like, oh, holy shit, I need to start cutting this stuff down.
Comes with a warning.
Yeah, it kind of comes with a warning. She's like, throw a sign. It's like, it might knock you back in the
Might
chair.
act the fool in the
Right.
afternoon time.
Is there a reaction that happens with, like, say, sugar or some ingredient in those that intensifies the alcohol intake? Because as much as you're not getting straight liquor, I would still think like the sugars of the item would amplify the liquor being drank. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, with a rum cake, there is more sugar that's added. I mean, a cheesecake, there's some, but I mean, there's not a lot that I throw in there that I feel like would really amplify it that much. It just, I don't know. It just kind of people just kind of get thrown off, and it just.
I
don't
feel
get it.
I've made beer chili before, and I used to make this like beer cheese soup, And most of the stuff that I've made, I've always used, for lack of better words, cheap beer. Lagers mostly. I don't feel like I could cook with something that I want to drink. Like, I want to drink it.
And I've done that with white bean chicken chili too. Is that I like to have the chicken marinating in tequila, lemon, and lime juice, and just let it sit there for a day. And you taste the tequila that's in there, but I've never known it for anybody to actually eat it and just like, holy shit, it feels like I just took a shot of tequila when I'm eating your chili. It's just like it's the flavors there that there was tequila that was used. I don't know, at least for that, it's just sitting in a juice, and it just kind of sucks up into the chicken. There's not a whole lot that gets in that one.
Have any of you guys ever cooked with alcohol before? Liquor, beer, wine?
No.
Cooked with it, not drank it while you cook.
I usually just
obviously.
drink while I cook.
I don't even bother doing that. I'm always afraid.
Afraid of what?
Knives.
That's true. I've had a few incidences before, but it's
I've-
been worth it.
I've worked in enough kitchens to see what people do while sober, to where I don't want to like mess with things like while I'm drunk or drinking. Like I can
Yeah.
drink afterwards, or I can be that person who pops open the bottle of wine as everything's in the oven.
Sure. No, I'm
no,
drinking.
Does drinking while someone else cooks count?
Yes.
Okay, I drink someone else cooks it all the time. It's the safest way
Preheat the
ever.
oven, pop open the
Yeah.
bottle. That's how I
Yeah,
operate.
that's
let's drink.
You got
Let's
something
go.
that needs to be
That's kinda the way I am,
preheated.
too.
Yeah.
Like what? Like maybe after prepping, like pre-open, like open the bottle. Maybe if it's a wine, you can let it breathe while you're doing other things. I don't know. I'm just-
No,
Ken-
it's
Ken,
breathing
I-
in my belly.
I got a funny story to tell you about that. My mom uses either brandy or whiskey sometime when she makes her cake, and she calls me. She says, "I need a bottle of whiskey to use." I told her, "Well, there's a crap load of bottles in the basement. Go just grab one of them." She grabbed Ardbeg Scotch, which, if anyone's familiar with that, is a heavily peated Scotch. You can smell the smoke in there. She opened that bottle and then calls me. She says, "Your bottle of whiskey's gone bad." I said, "What are you talking about? The whiskey won't go bad, and it's not like I have anything that's that old in there." I asked her what she grabbed, and she spells it out to me. I'm like, "Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with this, but use something else. Use a Remy, use a Remy or something, which is it'll fall into the cognac side." But it was the funniest thing. She calls me and she says, "Yeah, this whiskey's gone bad. I'm gonna throw it away." I'm like, "No, don't throw this away."
Dude.
Does any alcohol have any shelf life?
It depends if it has any cream in it. Depends on the proof. Everything has a shelf life.
So let's take away like digestives and aperitifs and cordials, like straight, tequila, whiskey.
If it's not opened, it's good for a very, very long time. I mean, you'd have to worry about the glass disintegrating before the alcohol doing that.
Wow.
But once you open it, and depends on the proof and how much air you have left in the bottle, the air to alcohol ratio in your bottle will start basically open up the whiskey and keeps changing. You won't say go bad, but it'll change the flavor. So a bottle like this that I just opened both of them now, you give it a week with this much air in them, and they'll change. And sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. Depends on what flavor profile you like.
So if you were selling me a bottle of liquor and I said, how long once I open it I should drink it, what would you say?
Depends. Again, it goes back to the liquor.
Well, let's go with that Coppercraft.
Well, let's say these bourbons right here, they're both over 100 proof. 2-3 years, if it's opened, you're fine. Now here's where it goes to be a little tricky. If you drank this much in one day and then left that much in there for 2 years,
It's like so many of my
Got
bottles.
more air.
yes, you have way more air ratio to alcohol. You still have over a year to 2 years on it, but it's going to keep changing. And if you like the flavor the way it was that first day, you'll try it 6 months later and you think, okay, it went bad because it doesn't taste like you remember it.
So we won't say this is true, but for science, I have a bottle of 151 that was opened 6 years ago that is about maybe that much left, and is like,
It won't get worse than it was when you opened it.
does it lose any of the ABV in the aging process, or?
Well, no, it won't. And actually, those are probably better than the bourbon bottles because you have corks on the bourbon bottles, and the corks could dry out and let air in there.
Oh, really?
That 151 proof is probably a plastic cap, which is, I assume, sealed tight, and there's no air going in there. So that'd be fine. Actually, that'll last longer than these, just because if your cork dries out, now you have fresh air going in there, and then that air to whiskey ratio, if I'm not mistaken, is changing. Also, that's why some people are using aerators now, just like you use on wine. They're using aerators to drink their whiskeys. I mean, it's instead of just sitting here and letting it sit in the glass and let it open up on its own. If they want to drink it faster and get the certain flavor, see how it's changing, they'll use an aerator to test that out.
So we're talking about whiskey. Wendy, you got a glass. What's in your liquor cabinet? What are you drinking at home that's not beer?
I do not have liquor at home.
What?
Well, I have liquor at home, but I don't drink it. So I tend to give it away for fundraisers and stuff when that comes in.
I need to go to your fundraisers.
I know, right?
Are they in baskets, or are you putting them in the little cutesy
Well, yeah.
baskets? Or
Usually you put them in baskets.
well,
but-
I don't know what kind of fundraisers.
Well, we did.
That's true.
We did a bourbon and a liquor pull at the last fundraiser that I was a part of. So you paid like I think it was $10 for wine and $20 for liquor, and the bottles were put in a bag so that you couldn't see what was in there, and you just got to pull off the table whatever you wanted.
So was there like some really bad stuff in there, like some arrow
There was some
or
stuff that was not great.
pop off?
I guess I can't say not
Oh.
great. I mean, I got a Jim Beam Peach in mine, which
I
Jim
mean,
it's
Beam's-
not great, but it's not bad.
I'd rather have
Personal
Crown.
preference. I mean,
Right.
being in
Yeah.
retail and seeing this, there's things that I would never drink or recommend to someone, but I'll see someone that walks in and that particular person is enthusiastic and loves it and thinks this is the best thing in the world.
Right.
Well, I think the Jim Beam Peach would fall under the lines of a great cocktail mixer. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to make something that's a little more peach flavor or fruit flavor that has a something like a base like a Jim Beam, you don't need to have the 800 other. Have you guys ever been to any of the cocktail bars around Michigan, like the one that's in like the basement under the Checker Bar or Kiesling or some of these places? They spend like 10 minutes making your cocktail.
Yes.
It's almost a show. But I mean, like Kiesling, I can speak of for sure. I've never had a bad cocktail there, and the prices are really good. And this isn't just a free plug for Kiesling. I took like that's my go-to bar if I want to have a cocktail and I want to enjoy it and not just get silly.
Act the fool.
I mean, those type of bars, have come up quite a bit in the past few years. I mean, I think the first one I noticed in Michigan was that the Oakland in Ferndale.
Great place. Love that place.
Fantastic. They used to have a great selection. They still do, but there's more and more places that are opening up like that. A recent one that opened a few months back, a new one opened up in Rochester called the Hemingway, and it's right off 2nd Street in Maine, and they're doing a great job. But a lot of those places are bringing people in because they're doing that, where you're not just getting a mix out of a bottle and here you go. You're actually, it's almost part of a show, but just also part of a quality aspect. Fresh ingredients, better quality ingredients overall. They're not using things like Hiram Walker and De Kuypers. If they're going to use anything liqueur-wise, they're using top-end stuff that doesn't have food coloring and so forth. And otherwise, anything juice-wise, they're making themselves, or you see a fresh, fresh whatever fruit that's being used in there right in front of you, which is awesome.
This is going to sound corny, but you can taste the effort. Like, I think you can understand
That's
what I
nice.
say.
Yeah.
When, like,
Well,
you
'cause
can
it's fun to
taste the
watch.
effort you put into that.
Right.
Or they put into that, I should
Oh.
say. I don't put into it.
100%.
And it's not something I could do.
No, like so I'm going to be giving away an award at the Golden Jiggers tomorrow or Sunday night at the Detroit Shipping Container. And I'm doing the best brewery. So last year I actually did best Cicerone, which Zach Topinski won. Urban Rest has been on the show a few times.
Nice.
This year I am doing best brewery, and there is best brewery in Michigan, I should say. So it's not a nationwide; it's a Michigan only. And I believe in the running is River's Edge, Batch Brewing, Oddside, Old Nation, and one more that I'm just not gonna. Oh, Royal Oak Brewery. And I think they got their nomination because they just won the gold over at the GABF for one of the best styles out there, the
ESV?
alt beer.
Alt
Jack,
beer.
we can hear that.
I'm kind of curious though, as far as the nominations. I mean, is this like just someone just nominating these breweries, and then these breweries are picked by, I guess, a panel to pick those?
So
or
I can go. This is how far I can go in this discussion because I know of the system. So there was a nomination process where anyone can nominate anyone. It was open to the public. So if you followed Nick Drinks or anybody that followed, or like a lot of places said, hey, vote for us, or hey, make sure you put us in there. Because again, it's heavy on the liquor part and not necessarily heavy on the beer part. It's the golden jiggers, not anything else.
Right.
yeah.
So after that, then a handful of people got to vote for their top. So they gave us like 15 and you had to vote for 5.
Okay.
And I think they then took the conglomerate of 5 of each group, put them in each category. So
It's like FIFA voting.
I mean, I don't know.
Low for venue.
I mean, there's not enough corruption in this.
Sepp Blatter wasn't involved.
No, not at all.
Damn.
So yeah, there's a best brewery, a best Cicerone, a best retail venue.
Retail venue. What
Yeah.
would that be? Like a bottle shop?
There was no real qualifications because I think 8 Degrees is in there.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
I mean,
say.
8 Degrees is a bottle shop, but when I think retail venue, I think Zatuna Liquor, I think Holiday Market, I think
Merchants.
Merchants. Oh my God, I haven't been to Merchants in so
So I
long.
wonder where a craft beer cellar would fit in there, because they're kind of like an 8 Degrees. They got a bar in the back.
I
have
think
beer, you
I
can play
think in this
board
this
games.
is a great conversation to have Jack in a little bit. Why do you think people come to you over another store? Because people travel to you. Like I've done it.
Well, that's how we first met, and that's how I know a lot of my
No.
regulars.
I'm going to be honest with you. You were literally off of the Rochester Road exit, which I got off to go home in Troy because I was working at 59 and Adams.
Yeah, but it starts out that way, and it's been, 11 and a half years now? And,
Something like that.
And I still see you pop in the store. I still see a lot of regulars that moved, and they make sure whenever they're close by in the area, they stop in, or sometimes they just make special trips. The reason you got to go with what you're comfortable with, and if you like a spot and you like the service, you like the quality of the product there, and knowledge of the staff, I mean, that's really what's going to bring people back in. You got to have the variety, and you got to know what you're doing. There's people that still believe that craft beer is a fad that's going to go away, and they're betting on that. It's kind of funny. I see a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of people, and you'd be surprised.
Now,
and I've seen
I want to
distributors-
shelve that statement.
And
We'll come
I've
back
seen
to it.
distributors, actually recently, I've seen distributors change their business model based on that thought. I mean, there's a company I deal with that had a craft division, and they just eliminated that craft division. And I was actually talking to their rep today, asking about how their numbers were doing and so forth. And he said, since they've done that, their numbers are down on the craft beer side. You know, the reason you pick a place to go to, I go to Zatuna over anyone down the street. We have great product, good pricing, knowledgeable staff, and if we don't have it, we'll bring it in for you.
So, Ed, how did you? I mean, you live out in Howell.
Yeah.
So, how did you pick your beer store? Like, what was the decision? Is it because it's close? Is it because of the selection? Because I mean, before Zatuna, I used to go to Merchants all the time, and I mean, even before Jack was selling singles, if I wanted a bunch of one-offs, I would go to Merchants over Zatuna because I wanted those singles.
Yeah.
Like, what? How did you choose your liquor store?
So I went to Michigan State. So
Go green.
Go white. So when I was, coming of age and all that stuff in the beer scene, I was going to Odie's. I was going to Vine and Brew out in Okemos and hitting up those spots, and still working in the Lansing area has led me to kind of go down memory lane, kind of like what you were saying. I like this. I like the service. I like the the variety and the ability to buy one bottle. Not finding those unique bottle shops. And then I grew up on the west side of the state, so that's why Craft Beer Cellar has kind of been my go-to, and you see it come up in all my blog posts and stuff like that.
You're doing the
beer advent calendar, yeah. So every day, every morning, I post the previous day's beer that they came out with for their advent calendar, and I will drive out to Grand Rapids and go pick it up.
What about you, Wendy? Like, how did you choose whatever store you go to?
Oh, well, I live in the craft beer wasteland, so it is
Clinton Township?
No, I live in Garden City.
I was actually
So-
going to guess Westland because
It
I lived
is-
in Wasteland.
Really hard to find a store that has a good variety and sells a lot of singles. Because I too like to try the one-off and be able to try it before I buy a whole 6-pack or 4-pack. And there's a little store like right around the corner from me that does a pretty good job of bringing in good variety. So I kind of tend to go there first, just because I want to set that precedent and create that relationship with them. But then I will go back to my old stores in Redford and Livonia, and if I find they don't have what I want.
So, how did you feel that Ashley's is now closed?
Oh, that was very sad for me.
Rest in peace.
It was very sad for me.
I kind of wanted to shelve what you said about craft beer kind of moving away, because Ashley's was a staple of both craft and import. They did a lot of import business over there. But one of the big things that I feel I noticed, and I had a conversation with Joe from Liberty Street last night.
Shout out to Joe Walters.
I had to go up there because Andrew Parr, one of the fans of the show, I still did not buy his $20 gift card.
Shame.
I know.
Did you buy it though? Did you?
I went and bought it yesterday.
He did. He bought it. Okay.
It's there. I actually know Andrew. So he knew my life was crazy because, again, bought a house. So my life is definitely not full force. Like, oh, I forgot to buy a $20 gift card.
Right.
So I went over there, bought it, left it, and he was happy to hear. I think he just kind of forgot about it himself, and I probably could have gotten away, but that's not my style. But I think we're seeing the end of the poorhouse. So I don't think we're seeing end of craft beer, but I think we're seeing the end of the poorhouse. And with Ashley's closing, which I think the big thing that hurt Ashley's was the issues with the mall, because the mall wasn't doing their part of their contracted landscaping abilities, their job. They just weren't doing their
I would
job.
say besides that, the mall is dead.
I mean,
So that's
Malls have been dead for years.
that's what I'm
It's just-
saying
it's-
though.
it's
Like if
just
you're
taken-
still in a mall, like
yeah,
you're
it's
hurting
just,
yourself.
Right.
not to bring politics in, but that's definitely a huge thing that Andrew Yang talks about in regards to the death of malls that are
Right.
coming through. Back to the poorhouse, though, we're talking that I think Hopcat Detroit lessen the amount of taps. They've added Miller Lite to their
Saw that,
listings.
That must be why I don't see the sign lit up, because there's always that sign that was up front
Was it
in neon. It's
130?
like 130 taps.
130, yeah.
I have not seen that sign lit up in a while, and I didn't even think about that. No one's half the battle.
So I think now when I say poorhouse, I'm talking huge tap list, huge bottle list.
I mean, Ashley was just running, what, 40 taps?
That's it.
Yeah, but they had a huge
But their bottle
list.
list, too.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a pretty big bottle
Their
list.
bottle list was something really, really crazy. But I think like what we're gonna see is we're gonna see more breweries open on an extremely small, personable scale. I think Matt had called it on the show as the local taproom pub. I think we're seeing what we had saw a few years ago, that those mid-tier breweries that were in distribution, and to be honest, Axel is one of them because they lost a lot of money on distro.
Yeah.
Liberty Street, Dark Horse. When was the last time you bought an Arcadia beer?
Shit.
When was the last time not named Ed that you bought an Arcadia beer?
I have to say though, I bought
You're a beer buyer. Shut up.
I bought all the Jawjacker I saw this fall. Jawjacker, I just was like, oh, 6-pack.
And
fine.
that's not saying Jawjacker is bad or Arcadia is
Right.
bad. It's the fact that the breweries that got out of distro early and kind of slowly re-entered, Kunin and Dragonmead, survived.
right.
Black Lotus, I think Black Lotus had a lot of mismanagement, and not owning the building didn't help. And
That's one of the things we talked about last week. or the
Yeah.
week before.
Jack, you want to say something?
Okay,
Come
I
on.
have to interject. And being from the retail side, as soon as you bring up Dark Horse, it's the best example. I think they make good beers,
Oh, they make great beers.
but it's not the beer community that left them behind. They left that behind. I'll ask a quick question. So I've been in business 11 years. How many times do you think a rep that worked for Dark Horse walked into my shop in the 11 and a half years I've been in business?
I could tell you the name of one Dark Horse rep in the area that worked there for like 6 months or two. And that's it. I don't know who they
I knew
are.
the name of the reps. They've never walked into my shop. No one from Dark Horse. Besides the rep from Rave who handles that product, there's no one from Dark Horse that's ever walked in and tried to work on making sure that they have good visibility on the shelf, that they're in the cooler door instead of just
They're
being on
doing
their
the
own
Friday
shelf.
night tastings. that
Doing
you're
tastings like we do all the time. You can't just throw your beer out there and expect your distributor to handle that. Kevin DeVries is the greatest example right now. He left Founders and now he works for Blake's. Within the first week he was working for Blake's, he reached out to me, hey, I'm with Blake's now. We're going to come on in. He knew what I had in my shop. You don't have a display for Blake's. I'd like to have a display for Blake's. We have a $10.99 price point on Blake's right now, and he reached out to me. We spoke about it this morning. We're lowering our price point from $10.99 to $9.99 moving forward and doing a special on his product. And all it takes is them reaching out and so forth. I've never had someone from Axel walk in the store. Axel had a bad rep with originally with so many things that's happened.
The whole milking it, Scott King.
Yes.
Like the
But
transition was not
when
smooth.
when you re-enter the market, you got to make sure someone goes out there and smooths the relationships out and make sure that the people are happy. Just because they bought your beer before, and you can't assume they're going to do it again. You can't depend always on the distributors. The distributor, especially for Axel, was a bud wholesaler. That
Tell us how you really feel.
you gotta be if you want to be successful, you gotta be active in the market. I see reps from Bell's, I see reps from every brewery I deal with. You're talking about keto. James reaches out to me all the time, which, as I mentioned earlier, when I walked in, after I sampled it with you that one night, 3-4 days later.
Oh, that's right. I did crack open a bottle there, didn't
Yeah,
I?
he reached out to me and made sure I had it. I mean, you have to take the step, and I already had the beer, but he didn't know that, and he made sure I did. You got to have someone in the market that's promoting your beer and staying on top of it. You can't expect your distributors to do 100% of the legwork. And I've seen the breweries that didn't do as well either had some misses in beers that went bad and they didn't handle it right, or just didn't have anyone in the market to handle their beers. It's not that the craft beer community doesn't care, it's just they could tell if you don't care.
That's an interesting take.
It kind of sounds like it's just like it's an extension of the neighborhood, because of when you're talking about these small breweries that are coming in that are being a part of the neighborhood and trying to get to know their neighbors so that their neighbors can look at this as just this friendly pub that everybody can go to. But once their products start to hit the stores, that they need to extend that to you. And they have to extend that to those stores who are trying to sell your product, because at the end of the day, it is about making the money, but it's also about, hey, we need to have this relationship to say, hey, I'm gonna bring this stuff in. We want you to try this, or we want to, like the end cap. We want to have the end cap up there. That that there's at least that communication that's happening, so that everybody's on the same page, I guess.
All right, quick updates from the chat room, because a lot of people are actually chatting today. Joe Walters is
What up,
actually
Joe? Joe.
Big Joe.
He says hi to Jack, none of us.
Yeah. Despite the fact that he makes probably the best seltzers I think I've
Best
ever had.
seltzer.
Yeah, we talked about that last night too when we were chatting. Stephen Mott says, true that, Jack, feet on the ground is a vital part of the industry, building relationships and maintaining them. Bring the brand you rep and shop owners justice by being a salesman in the store and out. Bill Carney, who is our current map editor, he goes, I don't go to pourhouses because I'd rather go to the brewery where I can do business with the people that actually made the beer.
I like that point, Bill.
Yeah.
Interesting little takes over there.
It is still I guess my thing with Ashley's, it is very tough to see Ashley's go, because that spot was
You had Sporkle history.
I have Sporkle history with that place. I was hosting trivia in that bar for about 2.5 years, and like from Laura, one of the GMs, to April, one of the waitresses, like all the people that were there were amazing and awesome, and I loved every day of going in there and hosting. And it sucked that all of a sudden I was like, I'm all the way out in Kentucky, and all of a sudden this news drops. The news drops that we're shutting down on Saturday, and I never even got a chance to get up there. So it's hard, but I guess they had a good run, and it's sorry to see him go.
I went on Friday, and it was like saying goodbye to your family.
Yeah,
It really was.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about Ashley, well, two things. I love the Belgian Beer Festival, and I'm very upset that every single time the Belgian Beer Festival happened, I had to leave, so I couldn't have a fun Uber in, Uber out type festival experience. There was one time where I had like my Mother's Day or Father's Day thing that happened that night. And I had to go all the way to Troy. So I'm like, well, I can't get tanked, but I gotta come in, try a few beers. But the Cask Ale Festival, like that, somebody needs to
Oh my
pick that
God.
up.
Right.
Somebody,
People
some
were getting
bar, some
drunk.
industry, someone who has, the space needs to pick up, because that Cask Ale Festival, I think, brought in a lot of local brewers who like to have fun, and gave you a different taste of everything that you needed.
Cask ale is like that style is ridiculously
Well,
I
different.
mean, what place? I mean, do you have a thought, like a place in mind you would think you would want it to be at? I mean, it's obviously it's a pipe dream, but
Who's brewing with cask ales?
Where would you want it to be, or do you have a place like in mind?
I mean, to be honest, if you could pull it off with the parking, I think the capabilities and the staff, like a beer keller over in Taylor.
Over in Taylor, okay.
Because that's the thing is that they had the benefit of that beer garden over there. Maybe Royal Oak Brewery. I don't know what the rules are because they're a brew pub, and I know a lot of laws are different when it comes to a brew pub versus a regular brewery. But the Royal Oak Brewery's got their little back area. There's definitely
One under.
one under.
One under.
One under is expanding right now, the building, and they've got all the parking for the
Expanding
golf course.
to what, the 18th green? I didn't realize there was actually room back there.
Nope, they're coming forward where the patio was.
Oh,
Now, I'd have to ask because the rules at the Cask Ale Festival and the Belgian Beer Festival were a lot different than most Michigan festival rules. They did not have a token program
Yes.
correct.
The best.
there. Now, I'm sure they had a how they got over it, and I'm
Sure,
guessing
sure.
it's because they're a restaurant and they were able to do something around
The
it.
last time I was there, they had tickets that you got. And you gave them tickets.
I don't recall the tickets. I remember the voting tickets or the voting coins.
No, that was for the brewery throwdown.
No.
Well, no, because I thought the
At-
brewery throwdown
at
was just sales.
The
No,
brewery
they did
throwdown.
the tickets the last year.
Oh,
Or the tokens the last 2 years.
Sounds like MLCC caught up to them. then.
No, the last time that I went to the Belgian festival, they had tickets because I remember running out of tickets and having to go buy new ones.
oh,
Because it was the year all the sours were there. Like the Magnificent 12 or whatever those are called.
Might have been a Belgian. I'm going to be honest. I might have had a wristband that allowed me a little more access.
Oh, fancy.
I was going to say because I don't recall it, so I can't say that you're wrong. I can say my experience was. So maybe
Well, Ken,
Maybe you're
what I was
Yeah,
gonna-
what's up?
What I was going to add is just because they didn't have, even in the previous years, they didn't have tickets or so forth, doesn't mean that was legal to do. A lot of times people do things and they get away with them because there's not much light behind it or no one's going to report it, obviously.
well, so they had not run those festivals for a few years,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the MLCC had been really hard the last few years.
Recently, they've caught up and they're just trying to stay on top of those. I remember, I think it was last year, they did find some. I think it was the Brewers Guild, but I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I thought they fined the Brewers Guild for a couple things that were not done right.
You know, there was another
they've-
festival that
They've gone in retail and fined retailers for what you call it, for things that were not done appropriately either. So they're not just cracking down on one side of things. They're hitting up different things. But go ahead.
There was a festival. I can't recall the name or whatever, but it was in the Lansing area, and it got busted multiple times.
That's the lager one that was supposed to happen. I think Old Nation was.
Oh,
doing it.
yeah, the
Yeah, that
Williamson
was-
one?
yeah, there was that one, but I'm talking there was a festival. at,
Old Nation got busted because of 501c3 bullshit charity, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
it
there
was-
was that.
It wasn't for
one,
like a
right.
ticketing program or not proper sales. It
This
was
was-
some random thing.
As I recall, this was I don't know which festival it was, but it was one of the ones at the Lugnut Stadium.
So it
Cooley
might have
Law
been a
School.
Paul Star.
I don't know who runs it, but they time after time after time it was fine after fine after fine going on. And I remember standing in line at the Summer Beer Fest for Brewers Guild, and they were quoting that. They're like, we don't want to get shut down. We don't, follow the rules, follow the tickets, don't stand behind, all that stuff.
They've been very, very good. Like we were in the process of about to take over Ellison, my girlfriend and I, for the Fall Beer Festival, and she was drinking, and this is my fault because I didn't tell her. She was drinking. She went to go behind the thing, and the security was there that second magically. And I'm like,
well, there's secret shopping now too. So,
so these two, there was these two girls that were walking around and they were blunt. Like you knew who they were, and they were not fucking around.
I've been told by them too.
I'm sure they were hired by the Brewers Guild to make sure that's perfectly fine.
Right.
I mean, they gotta protect it.
Oh no, 100%.
Who knows? The state could take away. Either find them more money or take away
the
option to
you don't want to be the party pooper that ruined the Brewers Guild
Which brewery did it? Right. Who we blaming?
First of all, it's not as much as I'm the volunteer for Ellison. It ain't me getting blamed. Well, maybe me, but it's Ellison getting blamed.
Right.
Guys, we're gonna take a quick break. As always, with our breaks, it is sponsored by the Ferndale Set. This is Brother Son. We'll be right back.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 I'm headed for the city. See what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to dictate, make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then. Gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 These eyes ain't looking back home. No, I'm now by myself on this road.
And we are back, episode 203, Better on Draft
Hi-yo.
podcast.
Sorry, we're late.
Hello there.
Sorry, we are late because we are giving away a $50 gift card to Zatuna Liquor, as well as 10% off to everyone that goes to Zatuna Liquor on beer and wine purchases if you mention Better on Draft.
Better on draft.
Usually
Draft.
get something for mentioning us.
Yes.
It's not usually you get nothing, and maybe it's just like a handshake.
Right.
No,
And
I get a few people all the time that will come and say, I heard you guys on Better on Draft and I want to check out the place. And 90% of the time, they're always very happy.
oh, we
Until they see me and they're like, oh, crap.
definitely appreciate
kind of
those who
sad.
do that. That is awesome.
All right. So for
So,
for
that-
this segment here,
Not to interrupt you, Ken, we'll have to figure out how to give away the $50 gift card. I don't know how you want to set up the. This is maybe someone that's watching or,
He's got experience with that. He
So,
can
You
handle
just
it.
got to follow through. That's
Yeah.
I'll leave that to you. And
I got to figure out what's
how
going
about
on
this?
because
We'll
I'm
do
watching.
two $50 gift cards.
I'm,
two
I'm,
$50 gift cards.
Damn.
I'm watching the video right now, and
I'm gonna watch the video.
It has me over there by you, so I need to
You
make
need to
sure.
refresh. No, you're good. You're
I'm good. Okay, as
You're
long
good.
as we're good, then that's all that matters. I don't
Yeah,
care what I see on
yeah,
the screen.
the one I'm looking at is about the usual like 8-9 seconds behind.
Perfect.
So we're good.
So we brought Wendy in because Wendy has a topic she wants to talk about:
Chasing beers.
chasing beers.
So I realized in the last probably 5 or 6 days, we have gone to 8 different breweries for releases.
You're chasing them.
You have.
I have not personally. I have friends. Between me and my friends, we've gone to 8 different breweries in probably like 3 or 4 days just to get new beers. So I was just kind of curious as to how far you would go to get the beer you would want.
Well, is it to get new beers or to get certain limited beers?
Is it in the state of
'Cause you could get
Michigan
new
or
beers all
Either
the
way.
time.
Not necessarily, because like the other morning I woke up and was like, oh no, I don't have any Mad Elf and it's almost through November, and drove the hour to Toledo so that I could get Mad Elf because I can't get it here. So how far would you go to get the beer that you want or have never had?
I heard no Ken's answer.
Oh, wow. Okay, so beer that I want or never had. Like if there was a beer that I wanted, for instance, if somebody came up and said, "Hey, we just got this beer in, and it's a beer that I've been wanting for a long time." So let's say Allagash White, great beer, a
That's
beer that I want, and say it's in limited distro in Cleveland. So it might be in Ohio. I don't know the full distro, but we'll say it's in Cleveland. It's not in Toledo, but it's in Cleveland. I would drive to Cleveland to buy a shit ton of Allagash White. Now, when I go to Chicago, I bring home Allagash White, but like if it's a specific beer that I want or a specific beer that is just that beer. Like, I don't think I would ever go whale chasing for a Utopia or a. I know you brought one that had like 8 names in it, like super ultra rare gorilla beast juice pineapple.
That's just a Novi though.
Yeah, it was actually Ascension's beer releases that made me think about this topic because we went, I think it was 2 weekends ago when they had the peanut butter
Gorilla Juice.
Gorilla Juice.
Is the amount? Yep. there's
And-
that too.
Yep, that was still on tap when I went there on Black Friday.
At
Still
that
on
point in
tap.
time, I was not a Mug Club member, so I was not able to get any. My friend, who is, stood in line for 2 hours, and it went from 2 4-packs is the limit to 2 cans is the limit while she was standing in line. So I was just, it kind of made me think about it, how far you will go to try and get what you want. I am now a Mug Club member at Ascension because I want to be
gotcha.
able to get what I want.
gotcha.
They did. It's
So, it's not-
great marketing.
It's not just distance; it's time.
It's time and it's also money because
Yeah.
she bought a Mug Club membership.
I did.
Well, that was Witch's Hat got a lot of flack when they were doing their Mug Club member only releases, or they were only posting it on their
It's like on their
Secret
bulletin
band.
board,
on their bulletin board
in the
inside
brewery. That was the only place you actually knew they were doing their releases.
My God.
So yeah, you had to be there,
Right.
And then if you weren't a member, you had to then become a member to then you get that information.
right.
Oh.
So
because this
Yeah.
was before Ascension existed. This was before Drafting Table, where people were buying memberships to Witch's Hat just to buy their secret ultra releases of Dragon Tracks.
3Xs, right?
Yeah, 3Xs.
3Xs.
'cause
Fantastic beer, by the way.
Triple X. Eh.
I
hit or
like
miss
it.
sometimes.
I agree. There's been years that are better than others, but
Right.
I would agree. Ken, I would have to add on when it comes to going to one beer release, and this is what makes Black Friday a little better when it comes to that. There's multiple breweries doing releases. You could hit up multiple ones in just 1 day span of time.
Right.
I've gone as far as going to Florida for a beer release, but it happened to be Tampa Beer Week. So I went for Tampa Beer Week and then went to Angry Chair to have their Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial German Chocolate Cupcake.
That sounds good.
If there's
amazing.
eight names in the beer, 8 words in the name of the beer, that is too many. But you know, we're speaking of beer chasing, and of the beer chasing of Michigan, we have some Bourbon County that Jack has brought us, so he's going to crack one open for us.
Well, we agreed to start on with the
coffee.
I'll let you pick.
the coffee.
Please.
So
The
Bourbon
coffee.
County brand Cafe de Ola Stout, made with coffee from our friends at, I can't pronounce it, been drinking a little too much, so I'm sure it's a good coffee.
Words.
Words.
Oh,
Man.
So when we
the bottle
first
opener. Matt.
when we first started this show, while this is getting cracked,
Yeah, I give up.
That's a weird
folks,
ass.
your
Yeah, these are courtesy of Matt Bush. So
Okay.
I blame Mad Bush
yeah,
easily.
blame Matt Bush.
is that which one is that? That's not the.
That's the shooter.
No, that was me.
Was it you?
That was me.
The grip boom. That's what.
Yeah, the grip
I've
boom.
never seen an opener like that.
That's all right.
Please don't make any more of those.
I've got a
I want
awesome.
one.
I've got an awesome one that's coming out here soon that I found. It's the can opener. That opens up. Not the
not
bottle
the shooter.
cap.
Okay.
A can opener that opens up the top of a can and makes it look like almost a pint glass
What?
because it cuts open.
Oh my
No.
god.
That sounds cool.
I'm bringing a.
How should we pass this around?
Yeah, we'll
I
pass it
just passed
around.
my glass, so you can
Alright.
pour my glass and then pass the last to Wendy.
13.5%, by the way.
So yeah, so this is a group. I saw it on Kickstarter, and they're going to be sending me. Well, I bought a 4-pack, but they're going to send it to us to give it a little bit more press. But it is it basically just cuts open the top of your can, and this dude like literally cut it open in the video, I should say. Cut it open and then put his finger around it to show how it wasn't sharp.
Wow.
Because you've done like a
Oh,
can
yeah.
opener and you get that sharp edge and stuff.
yeah.
He
Right.
did it, and I'm like, I don't even want to try to pretend to do that. Like,
All right.
yeah. So he,
Okay.
I'd be the
I
one to
want
cut
one of
myself.
those. Tag me in that. I want one of those because we've got a friend of ours that
maybe I haven't bought it yet because I was gonna buy it tomorrow, but I'll buy a 10-pack, and I'm sure we can
Oh yeah, I'll buy one
find
too.
we can find some people that want it.
well, I have a friend that is a can collector who makes us open the beers from the bottom, and it's the biggest mess every time he does that. I would love to have one of those just to harass him.
Yeah, I'll get one for you.
Let me know what I owe you, or you know what? I'll pay for the
They're
whole
only
10
like
pack.
$12.
Yeah, that's easy. I'll buy him. That's
All right. Well, we'll
it'd be the best gift to give to him.
So back to the show. So
Yeah.
chasing beers.
Chasing
like, so you didn't chase any beers this past weekend.
No, I did. I went to a few different places, but no, I had a friend who does what's called Beer Friday.
Beer Friday. So like Black Friday, but beer.
Yes, and they went to Bell's for
Centric Cafe.
Yep, they
Vanilla
went to
Black
Bell's
Note?
for the vanilla black note, and then they
Sounds
went over
really
to
good.
Pigeon Hill
I was gonna say Pigeon Hill does their release.
I'm on French
And-
toast.
and Oddside,
Yep, they
which
do one too.
Oddside does ticketed releases.
Yep.
And they went just in case they could get something, and were able to get the ticketed beers without tickets.
Oh, shout out to West
So
O'Leary.
sometimes
And
it's-
Marty.
Sometimes it's worth
And
it to
Josh
make
Gordon.
the drive.
Right, right.
And then
That's a lot of
where
driving.
else did they go?
I mean, well,
I think that was it
That's
for
West
that
Side
day.
though.
yeah, no, that's West Side, but I mean,
Well-
that's a lot of driving. You're talking Kalamazoo to Grand Haven to Muskegon.
Right.
And you got to wait in line. It's not like you go there, pick it up, and leave.
Yeah.
You got to wait in lines. And
At
I've
Pigeon
heard-
Hill, it was unlimited. You could get whatever
Yeah.
you wanted, so they had so much.
I think there's a point where like because I value, and it's not necessarily the distance, I value the time. Time
Yeah.
is and this is a personal opinion, is time is something that you can never get back, and therefore I don't like wasting time. I don't like wasting time on things that you could do that yourself. No, I'll pay someone to do it because I can go do something else, or I can go make money, or I can go.
Well, Ken, we want it done right too.
Well, that too. Like I am the furthest from the handyman. Do you know how happy I was? So smart for me. I was. I got a new piece of the hardware for my company, and one of the screws was in so tight, but I had the right screw, so I wasn't stripping it. So smart me realized, oh, what I can do is I can grab a pair of pliers, attach it to the screw, the screwdriver, and flip the screwdriver just with the pliers. So I made this like crank to be able to unscrew the screw. So I'm smart enough. Now technology, really smart. Anything
Don't
else.
toot your own horn or anything.
Oh,
I mean, look what the man does for a living.
if you would have saw, so I bought these TP-Link access points for my new place.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We're good. We're good. Keep going. Keep going.
I bought
got
these
you.
TP-Link access points, and I'm going through the instructions, and they're like, "Oh, go to this website or go to this IP address," and I'm like, "That doesn't work. I'm getting an IP address from Comcast, so is the router, so it's not
Right.
going to get that." So I'm like, "Oh, well, what if I hook it up directly?" Nope, that doesn't work. So I was like, "Oh, well, I know if I go to the Xfinity webpage, which is my web provider, and I look up the IP address of the router that was given, then I can go in and edit it." So
There you go.
yeah, I was very, very good at that kind of stuff. Handyman stuff or, real life world,
Throw
like
some ITIS stuff at you. It's like, you're good.
no. So what's the furthest you've driven for beer? Or gone for beer? Driven. We'll say driven, because I've gone plenty of places for beer.
Probably Indianapolis is the farthest that I've gone.
5
at
hour
this point.
drive.
Yeah.
But the one place
What's in
that is
Indy?
like my whale,
What is it in Indy?
Taxman Brewing,
Casinos, first of all.
is
Taxman
outside of
Brewing.
Indianapolis, and they are fantastic.
Is that a Beatles
oh my
reference?
Gosh, they're so good.
Probably.
Probably.
They have a festival every year right after tax day that they have stouts that they put out that are so good. And I didn't get to go this year because I had to work. But I have friends who are amazing and brought me back some of the beer because they went.
So it's a release day
was
too.
so
So they
good.
have like
Yes.
so it's not just like a festival where
It's
you can
not
try
just
some
a
beers
festival.
and
It's their release date that they've created a festival around. And I
That's
cannot
cool.
wait to go next year.
what if people could bring crowler machines or can machines to like the Brewers Guild festival and you could buy to go at the end of festivals?
That would be
end?
awesome.
I think
That'd
that's
be dope.
illegal, but sure.
It'd be like some straight up nerd shit right there, where you're just like going to LAN parties and packing your big ass desktop and just running together so that you can.
It's
you can
illegal for now,
play
Jack.
Warcraft.
Jack, you know what? I have a question for you.
All right.
What is a law you wish you could change, be it retail or brewery or festival or tastings? Like, what is a law you wish you could change that would benefit your business without, assholes ruining it?
Well, no matter what law it is, you're gonna find someone that's gonna ruin it.
Yeah, I
But-
agree. but
Right.
Definitely.
There's some more than others.
But that said, as you know, it's a deep question, and I might have to think about it a little bit. But there's the first thing that came to mind as you asked that, maybe the most important one. We do samplings all the time, and it's regulated to a certain point and so forth. But what I'd like to see is when we go to Kentucky, and I do the trip to Kentucky all the time, is some liquor stores have a small bar. And all you're getting is like a half ounce to 1 ounce pour of things, and there's literally a full bar of different things to try. So if you're interested in trying,
When you say things and you say Kentucky, I think liquor. Are you talking liquor or beer?
I'm talking about liquor, beer, or wine. You could go in there and they have a full bar separately from the establishment. It's like a little room you walk in, and they have beer, wine, liquor. And there's rules they have to follow, I'm sure, and it's always small pours. So you get to try a beer, and now you're like, okay, I'll go buy a 6-pack. As we were talking about committing to a 6-pack or 4-pack, especially with how expensive beer is nowadays.
Yep.
You don't want to buy a $30 4-pack, $20 4-pack, and take it home and you find out it's terrible, so you'd rather have a single. But imagine you're able to take a small pour of it, and you're like, you know what, I don't even need a single of this. I'm just going to buy something else that I like.
Right.
I'd like to have a tasting room option. Now, in Kentucky, and I don't know if that's a law or if that's just the way they run them, they're not complimentary. You pay, $2, or depends on the product. Some things are more expensive than others based on what they are.
Yeah.
So you pay and you get to try it. and then you decide if you want to buy that or not. I'd like to be able to do something similar to that. Have a little tasting room. That'd be the first thing I'd change. That was the first thing that came to mind.
So, like when you're in Mexico and they ply you with tequila?
Well, you got to be careful because you don't want to be responsible for anyone driving out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's not a resort that's trying to sell you bottles.
Oh, no. They've talked us into some really expensive bottles of tequila.
And they tell you it's not available in the States, and then you come to the
Yes.
States and you find it on the shelf.
You're like, you asked Jack, hey, can you
You're
get
like,
this?
what happened?
All right, so we've cracked this thing open. I guess in terms of chasing beers, question is anybody chasing this one?
No.
Yes.
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 I would have.
Well, I guess I'm sorry. Let me,
What's-
not to
so
interrupt you. Do you
what's
mean, is
the-
anyone in the market, or do you mean anyone here in the
What's-
store?
I mean, anyone in this room after drinking this, would this be something that
Hold
you
on,
would
hold
chase?
on, hold on. We need
Yes.
context. What's the Zatuna price point?
This,
Bottle.
This on the shelf is at most places will just.
No, I want Zatuna.
Damn, putting you on the
Just
spot.
tell me the price.
This was about $28 a bottle.
2.8.
28.
28.
Yes.
99 or 27.99?
27.99, let's say.
Okay.
Would you chase that?
Math. Did that really
Extra dollar.
$27.99 or
Damn extra.
$28.99? Here,
Would
let
you
me
chase
answer
that?
the question. $28.99? No. $27.99? No.
I would, because I have a vertical going. But
Oh, okay.
So
Do you have a vertical of
do you
this
need
going?
an empty bottle, or do you need a full bottle?
no, I need a full bottle.
No, what I mean is now that you've tried it, do you still need another bottle?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, flavor profile for me, it really just is thrown off so much. I feel with the cinnamon and the orange, to me, it tastes like an undercooked chocolate lava cake. Like I'm just like
You are the
getting,
baker.
I'm getting like this flavor where it's just like there's the cake, and then all of a sudden it's just like this kind of like it's not necessarily like a wet graininess that's in the beer, but it's almost like it gets that feeling like something is just underdone, and it's like that. When I want a coffee beer, I want coffee stout done.
Got it.
Like when you throw the cinnamon in there. Now, granted, at work I drink coffee with cinnamon. I get that. The orange is like I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like with something that is so, I guess for me, that is contrast where, there's a difference between tart and bitter. Coffee is bitter. Orange is tart. And you throw both of those together and then you throw cinnamon on top of that. I'm just not
Have you
feeling
ever
it.
had a whack-a-ball before?
No.
One of those like chocolate orange things. You smack it against the table and it breaks into a delicious chocolatey, and you put some cinnamon on it.
I mean, it's like, is the orange trying to, is that's the thing? Is it trying to do like that orange
Sure,
chocolate
sure.
with the stout? But it's like, just coffee. It's just
I
supposed
like
to
it.
be the coffee.
I like it.
So
As a
we're-
former barista, I like
Let's.
it.
I mean, I was a former
I'm not
barista.
chasing that.
Big B,
That's
right?
Had
Me too.
Beaners.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
back,
that old.
back when it was Beaners.
They
That's
don't
how
like
long
it when you
ago.
call it
I wish
that.
it'd never change her name.
What's that other bottle you brought? Let's crack it open
So-
because I want to ask a question after you talk about it.
So the next one is 2019. I'm going to try to do this right. Hang on. This would be entertaining.
Do you want a better bottle opener?
Oh, no, at this point.
Do you need instructions?
At this point, he's trying
Yes,
to.
I did need
He's
a
going to
structure
do it.
first.
He
Now
wants to
he
do it
needs
by
open
himself. He wants to be a big boy.
So while we're talking about price points,
Yes.
so my whale is actually toppling Goliath, which doesn't make any sense because it's in the middle of nowhere. And I like
Nebraska, isn't
I
it?
liked Iowa.
Iowa.
I like to
Same
Same
difference.
I have literally tracked it and figured out like you can't get a bus there. I'm going to have to drive.
Megabus doesn't even get there.
Because if
Damn
I
it.
go to the bus stop, or if I take a bus, or if I take a plane, I'm going to have to rent a car to get there.
To drive, yeah.
So I
out
might
there.
as well just drive because it's
Right.
only like 14 hours or something like that.
So you make it a trip.
That's what's going to have to happen.
So
but
Toppling Goliath, I'm sorry to interrupt, is a brewery. What beer from them would you chase, I guess?
so there,
Morning
this
Delight.
actually tomorrow is their Kentucky Brunch Brand Stout.
No, I haven't kept up
The
with them. Isn't that
KBBS.
still a ticketed event? You have
Yes.
to want a chance to go there and pick it up? Or is it open
Nope,
now?
you
I haven't
have to
kept
buy
up.
tickets in order to be able to purchase the beer. You have to buy tickets in order to be able to sample the beer while you're there at the release.
Where does
so-
the ticket money go?
If you don't buy to the brewery, I assume,
That's too
because
bad.
they doesn't tell me that it's going anywhere else. But it is $100 for a 12-ounce bottle.
So hold on. You ready? We're gonna play. We're gonna play a game of. We'll do 4 rounds real quick.
Oh, before
I could
we
get
do-
Corey
let-
Haim
let-
to say
this is
happy
open
birthday to
now.
me on
Jack
Cameo for that much.
Jack finally opened the beer.
Well, I opened this beer and it was more difficult than it should have been. That is a terrible opener can. That said, 14.1 ABV, Bourbon County Stout with cherries, granola, oats, brown sugar, 100% natural flavors added.
So basically a stout with crackling oat brand.
Sure. Say what?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds good. I mean, now is this one as far as price point from
Same thing.
you is the same thing? Okay,
Same thing. So
Same
28,
thing.
28 or 27? 27?
Both.
All right, so we're gonna play a game, and the winner gets absolutely nothing.
Just
you
like
know
the
what?
spelling bee, right?
You know what? The winner gets to crack open the Dogfish Head 120 that I got.
That's worth it.
how
That's
old
worth
is
it.
that one?
Where did my glass go?
I have it.
We're filling it.
It's right here.
All right, so we're gonna start off with round number 1.
Yep.
This is Price is Right rules. We're gonna start with Ed going right to left, and then whoever wins, that they go last the
Okay,
next time.
okay,
Price
okay.
is Right rules.
Great,
Okay.
great. Okay.
All right, so Toppling Goliath SR71 2019 is when it was posted. It does not have a year on it. It just says rare, elusive, and never to be produced again. Toppling Goliath SR71. Original owner since acquisition. Kept stored in climate control cellar. Great wax.
Damn it! Why did you have to make it that way?
What's your
I was
source?
good.
Is this Facebook?
This is my beer cellar.
Okay.
How much is this beer going for? Ed. We got to go fast because there's 4 of them.
$69.99.
69.
$69.99.
So
Yes.
$70.
Okay.
All right.
69.
We're talking about secondary. What release was this?
It's just SRs. It doesn't have a year on it. Just says
What's the
SR7
color of the
2015.
wax? Oh, color, what's the
2015.
color of the wax? There's different colors of wax.
Hold on. All right. 2015. Ed, you can change your number now.
$28.99.
You went lower. What is this? Card Sharks
Jack.
now?
All right, so 2015,
2015 Toppling Goliath
SR71.
SR71.
800.
Rob.
$12.50.
Wendy.
1251.
800 is the correct answer. 920.
Nice.
$800?
I knew it wasn't over.
Welcome to
$920.
Welcome to secondary, Ed.
Maybe it would make you feel better if I told you that the second beer I wanted in their release was $80 for a 2-pack of Morning
Morning
Delight.
Delight.
All right. So Jack wins. That means he goes last. Next up, 2016 Toppling Goliath KBBS Silver Wax.
$5.50.
Wendy.
900.
$690.
Jack.
700.
The correct answer on the nose, $900.
Damn, I was so pissed under the last.
Damn.
All right, so that's 1 point for Rob, 1 point for Wendy. That means that
didn't get a
Wendy's.
I went over.
So I go first, and then
I'm
we-
last.
It's 1
Right.
point for Jack.
Oh yeah, Jack and then
Wendy.
Wendy.
Yes.
So no, so Wendy goes first.
No, she got
goes
it right.
last.
So
No, I
she
got it
goes
right.
last.
I go
second
last.
last.
go
Yeah,
first.
she goes.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, we got this. Let's go. Next
We
one.
got.
All right, let's do 2014 Goliath Assassin Gold Wax.
$17.50.
Way too high. Actually, he's next.
No, you're next.
Am I next?
Yeah, you're
She
next.
goes
It's a
last, so you're
circle.
next.
Okay, hold on. So, I'm sorry, what year?
1750. It was the year 2014 Goliath Assassin Gold Wax.
Assassin Gold Wax. I'll go with my last number, 800.
I'm gonna go 950. Probably should have went 100, but I got 950.
I'm going to go 750.
What were the numbers again? So
$17.50.
1750,
8.
8.
950.
750.
All right, you're all over.
So we got to
All
redo,
over.
right?
525. We're gonna go again. I'm gonna go to a different page, try to get some different beers. So we've got here we go, a Morning Delight, Batch 1, 2013.
How the hell is that even tasting right now?
It says it's a 12 ounce.
What year was it?
2013.
See, after 5 years, it's like,
Right.
what's left of that thing?
250.
$150.
Okay.
That damn thing is 6+ years old. I'm not paying more than $75 for that fucker.
Wendy.
You won't
gonna
pay
go
that much. That's crazy.
151. The answer is 250. Woo! $1,100.
So it was your
1,100.
1,100.
So $40 a piece is a good deal.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
So we're gonna do one more round.
So,
right.
So Ed, Jack, and Wendy all have a point.
right. So Jack goes first.
So we are gonna go. Let me go back to this first page.
This is a crazy place.
This is
What is that again?
this is my beer cellar.
I'd rather trade on my regular.
All right,
beer
so pay
groups.
attention to this.
Afford that page.
4 bottles of rare Toppling Goliath, all cellar kept and purchased directly at Toppling Goliath Brewery. Selling only as a set. 1, 2018 Naughty Temple. 2, 2019 Assassins. And 1, 2018 Morning Delights. So again, 2018 Naughty Temple, 2, 2019 Assassins, 1, 2018 Morning Delight. So that is 4 beers in this list.
Whatever it is, it ain't
Is
worth
that what
it.
I'm willing to pay for it, or no? What some people would pay for.
What this auction is
Ask
for?
for. I'd say 700.
Rob.
Balls out, 2250.
No decimal.
Wendy.
I'm gonna say 900 again.
555.
The correct answer is $600. Ed is the winner. Ed is the winner of beer that I will never pay that much for.
Damn right.
Just like the Malo that went for a Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
No, not gonna happen.
Almost for a car.
Oh my God.
We are going to
Well,
take
they
a
have to charge more for it because you either have to drive there or fly there because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Right,
You
right.
don't-
I get it. It's
Like
just,
you
it's
think
nuts.
it'd be less money because people
right.
have to travel to get there.
So I'm gonna give the chance one more because there is a really good deal that Dan, former host of the Better on Draft, saw
out
in
to
Phoenix. A 6-year vert set, 2014 to 2019 Bourbon County Standard. Not anything wasn't infected, so it wasn't in the infected list of
Okay,
Bourbon counties.
okay.
That was the first thing I asked him.
Right.
How much do you think he's paying in Phoenix, Arizona for that 6-year vertical? This is a different store, by the way, than the store we mentioned earlier.
So Jack goes first, though.
Yeah, Jack goes first. Why
I'll
not?
go first. So this is not an auction site. It's at retail.
Retail.
Or a retail shop.
A retail shop.
Retail shop. What years to what years?
14 to 19. 6-year vert. How much would you sell that for?
That's actually a good question.
It depends on how much he got it for.
I could answer that in a little bit, but hold on. We're guessing
14
is this someone
through
in Texas, you
19.
said?
Arizona.
Oh,
Arizona.
Sorry.
We'll take any prices that anyone calls out because we're right up against the break.
All right.
250.
It's
No, I'd say 500.
this is Arizona. I'd say
Oh,
55.
wait, you're
I was
right.
going to say $69.
I wasn't
Well,
thinking
between me
asked.
and you. Between me and you, then.
350.
The correct answer, they are selling it, including 2019, for $74.99.
Arizona. They don't give a fuck.
Within $5. Give me that 120.
Guys, we are going to be right back again. Our breaks are brought to you by the Ferndale Set.
Weird.
Mama, please don't make me go. Yeah, I don't wanna go so far from home. Yale's got me riding that wave. I got my money where my mind is, and I like it that way. Ha!
And we're back, episode 203. It is a crazy break. Always crazy when Jack is in studio.
I've got nothing to do with this.
He reminded us, and by reminding us, told us that we're gonna give away two $50 gift cards to Zaytuna Liquor, as well as you will get 10% off for the next week. So that is until 12/13.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, you'll get 10% off of beer and wine, not liquor, beer and wine. If you mention Better on Draft. So head on over there, mention Better on Draft. Let's give away a $50 gift card right now.
Money.
Jack, what I'm going to do is in a second, I'm going to start scrolling, and you're going to tell me to stop, and whoever I stop on, that's the person who we're going to give the first card to.
I like it.
And if it's someone we know, and I do apologize, but those who are sales reps are excluded, we'll just go to the next person up or down. I mean, they get free booze all the time, so they don't need Jack.
Well, you know what? I do an actual industry discount anyways. A lot of all my reps actually, if they purchase something, I never charge them full price. I don't think if you're in the industry, you should be paying full price anyways. So reps already get
You're a good man,
discounted
Jack.
to begin with.
All right.
That said,
Just tell me when to stop, Jack.
yeah, whenever you start,
I'm
it's
starting.
already
Tell me
started.
when to stop.
stop.
All right. Carlos Lopez.
Get it.
Congratulations, Carlos.
You just won a $50 gift card at Zaytuna Liquor.
Carlos, are you still on? You got a comment.
Got a comment. Damn, Jack.
Because I know Carlos very well. So it's funny planning.
There you go.
Carlos, there'll be a couple bottles of wine for your wife. I know exactly
All
what
right.
Carlos would get.
That's the first one. So we got sent a hard ginger beer from Krabby's to talk about on the show. These are 11.2 ounce glasses. On the bottle, they say to drink best iced with a lime or a lemon. On the bottle, I have ice. I don't have lime or lemon. So why don't you guys take a sip? They are iced though, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I got
definitely.
I got a nice little rocks.
Taking a drink.
Rocks ice on there. I'm scared to try a ginger beer.
Why?
I love
Why
ginger
you-
beer and a
I love
Moscow
ginger
Mule,
beer.
but I
Right.
don't think
No,
I can.
I don't think
It's
you should be
good.
scared of it. I don't think you should be scared of it at all. It's just, I think for me, it's especially with dealing with my voice this week. I've been really on Vernors, and for those of us who grew up in the hood in the ghetto, you know what Vernors in a microwave for 2 minutes is.
First of all,
absolute
I
heaven.
grew up at the mean streets of 18 Mile and John R. That ain't the hood. That ain't the ghetto. And I drank warm Vernors.
I grew up in the suburbs, and I did as well.
That is that's,
I grew up on the west side of the state, and I know what warm burners is.
oh, you guys impress me every day.
West side.
Oh my God.
Wait,
I'm with my people.
Cheers to that,
do you want me to
Rob.
make you a 7-Up cake now?
Why would you drink warm burners?
No.
I missed something. Why would you drink warm burners? I wasn't listening 100% sorry.
Oh my God.
warm Vernors.
Are you not from around here?
Yes.
Did you grow up in Ohio?
Are you not from?
No.
No. Hold on. That's a serious question. Did you not grow up around here?
I've been in Michigan for the past 20 years.
Okay, you didn't grow up around here.
Yeah, you're missing
Yeah,
out.
I was born in Iraq.
Okay, so in
All right.
in Michigan, Detroit, obviously Vernors is a product of the
Familiar with
city.
that, yeah.
When you are sick, and I mean this could be anything from
Cold,
a cold, flu, headache,
throat.
Toe.
Headache.
stub toe,
Stub
broken
toe.
arm. The remedy of it is warm Vernors. So what I want you to do next time you go, I'm sure you have a microwave in the back or you have a microwave somewhere. Grab some Vernors, pour it in a coffee mug. You always
Yep,
got to put it in a
coffee mug.
coffee mug. You pour it in, you warm it up 20, 25 seconds, make
20,
a nice little-
25. Minute 45, son.
minute 45 is
Minute
Rob
45. You heat that shit up.
You make it nice and warm, and that will cure any ailment you have. It's kind of like Windex.
Yes.
You know what? I'm
Lemon
sorry.
juice
True
optional.
story.
Time
Lemon
out.
juice is
Time
optional.
out. I won't do this. I have better remedy. I have better remedy. Brandy, honey, throw it in the microwave. You're all set.
I mean,
I'm not
putting
substitute-
no,
yeah.
hold on. Putting
Like-
whiskey in there is completely optional if you want to go the alcoholic route. And
What
it,
other route is there? I'm sorry.
Well, hold on,
It's called
because
better on
that
draft, right?
That is
That's what it's
a
called.
child remedy. So you're talking
Oh.
like 6, 7, 8-year-olds
Right.
who are doing
Yeah.
this,
But
not
I remember
26.
when I was younger, though, my grandma would give
wish
me
I
a
was 26.
teaspoon of whiskey with a little bit of honey in it whenever I had a cough.
I was
Oh,
saying,
that's Grandma
Grandma.
Taylor or whatever it is.
and right now for like that the entire weekend, shout out to Grandma Vicky who was giving me whiskey, lemon, and honey as my voice was like deteriorating this past
You
weekend.
guys got
And-
dope grandparents. Like,
and Carlos,
My grandma to this day doesn't drink, but when
But
I
she'll
don't
give it to
feel-
you.
When I don't feel good, she's like, "You need to get some whiskey."
side thing. Carlos says Werner's is best cold, so he wins his $50 gift card.
oh, he commented.
I was gonna say I'm gonna
commented.
take back the $50.
He had to comment.
sure.
That was the rule.
He did. He did.
Guys, our chat is blowing up. It's hard to follow through, but a lot of people have been chatting, so I'm going to kind of go through a little bit. Chris Heckery says, so about this can opener coming soon to Zatuna, so I can use my gift card.
Shout out to Austin Brothers.
I will, Jack, I will make sure you get one of these. I actually have one of them at home still, so I will give
multiple
you.
of those.
And I'm not talking about the what do you call it one? The one that we're going to be buying, the can opener. I'm talking about the bottle opener. I always walk
Oh,
around
the
and find a
bottle
couple of good ones when I'm in the store. That's from Darren Markwood. We have kind of looking down. Catherine Johnson Porter says, I've only heard about the man, the myth, the legend that is Jack. It's practically a day trip to visit, but sounds like I need to pack a bag.
Please stop in.
Oh,
Get on out there.
Bill Carney says, I'm a rum guy and was impressed with Jack's selection at his store. It's a 2-hour drive
Thanks,
from
Bill.
my place, but I always stop when I'm in the area.
good, Bill.
The chat has been blowing up. It's hard to follow through. What do you guys think of this Krabby's Hard Ginger? Ginger
No
beer.
Verner's.
I mean, I would love
I mean, that's
a
my
Hard
problem.
Verner's.
I would
but-
love a Harvard. I mean, it is. I mean,
But I don't think I
It's-
could deal with the Hard Verner's that wasn't a whiskey Verner's. Like, I would
Mm-hmm.
want that ginger whiskey flavoring.
I mean, I feel
Verner's,
like
huh?
for this one, it would be a decent mixer with whiskey. I mean, for those who are not experienced with Verner's, and the fact that you start having a sneezing fit the moment you open a can or a bottle shows that you're not experienced with Verner's. This would be I think a good replacement for that, and just for anybody who messes with Canada Dry. First off, what is you doing? That's my first thing. Second, I think this would be a good replacement for it, and for those who actually drink Canada Dry, that this has a bit more of a ginger flavor to it that is
We have whiskey
better
right
than
here.
that. So
I do like the Canada Dry cranberry.
they make a cranberry.
They
I
do.
did not know
It's
that.
fantastic.
So Jack did bring some bourbon. I grabbed
Oh,
Butcher's
shit.
Cut from Detroit
that's
City
a good-
Distillery.
That's not bad.
I like Detroit City.
That's why I'm like, I can
DCD.
run and grab this, but it is a I'm going for it. I'm going for the whiskey ginger.
Do it.
I just did the same thing. It's way better with whiskey.
It was a good idea. I just added mine in
You want to try a
too.
sip?
Yeah.
Give Ed a little sip over there.
Here, just add it to yours.
I think
Oh, I
might-
already drank the whole damn thing.
I added a little bit more whiskey, but I think
I'm
it
good.
brings out the heat of the ginger, and I like it.
I think so too.
I will say that this is sweet enough that it almost reminds you of Verner's, but not. It doesn't have the same flavor.
Yeah, and there's just I mean, it's just not enough kick.
Right.
There's not enough kick. But I mean,
Well,
with the
because
whiskey,
it didn't make you
with it-
sneeze when you open up.
yeah, then that's the thing is that I think when you throw the whiskey in there, I mean, that is pretty damn smooth. I like how smooth
Yeah,
that is.
yeah.
And with Verner's, when you throw in Verner's, it is kind of whiskey alone is enough to already punch you in the face, but Verner's can do a nice swift
Mm-hmm.
kick as well. And throwing both of those together, it's a force.
It's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. So with the whiskey, it's really nice and smooth. You get the ginger, you get the whiskey, and everything is just level. And I mean, yeah, I like it.
Now, keep in mind, though, I've had this before, and once it warms up, you get a little more of that ginger kick.
Yeah.
So the fact it's on ice, it mutes it down and actually balances it out quite a bit. If it got, a little warmer, And if you let this glass sit, you'll get more ginger flavor out of it, and you get more of that spice, which depends on the person. That could be a good thing or a bad thing.
So a lot of people in the chat still. Darren Mackwood said Oddside Ginger Snaps is a pretty good beer. Joe Walter says I miss Matt Bush already. I miss Matt too.
No, you don't. Quit lying.
Are you
No, you don't, Joe.
Are you an arch enemy?
I mean, the moment anything like Kolsch that had any flavor other than just Kolsch was throwing Matt off, and he was pretty pissy about it.
Do we need to open up the arch enemy?
We got
Maybe.
Chris Hakery says Canada Dry Variety Pack is great. Has a blackberry also. Ken Pates says Canada Dry is all right if you're desperate. Fahad says Zach, see you next month or see you this month. So I want you guys.
Jack.
Yeah, you
Yes.
said Zach.
He does say he did say
Oh, he
Zach.
did say Zach.
He did say Zach.
Is he
so
drunk?
I just read what
Well,
he
the-
said.
Right, but is he drunk?
It's possible. He's in Arizona time, so he's probably.
So
Oh.
I'm gonna tip the cameras a little bit so you guys can kind of see what our night has been.
And quick shout out to Ken Pletz. We went to high
And
school
what our
together.
night
That-
will
that-
be.
that dude's
We're
awesome.
not done yet.
And what our night will be. So we've
Right.
got two more beers we're gonna crack open tonight. What's that Oddside Delirium?
Deleterious coffee.
Deleterious.
Deleterious.
Delete.
And Wendy brought us one gift from Ascension, which is the
Oh, that sucker is already open. That is the cinnamon,
Cinnamon
hazelnut
vanilla.
vanilla gorilla juice.
Gorilla
hold
juice.
So
I'm excited
Start-
for
Thank
that.
you,
Start-
Kathy.
thank you, Kathy.
Also, there is another
Shout
one.
out to Kathy.
There is another one that is open because we did have the Taste of Tavor on Tuesday, and as per winning the votes, there is the Wild Leap Brewing Company's ETA, the Transcontinental IPA, which definitely Ken will not drink. But that won the vote, so there are. I'm actually that is one of them right there. That is one of them right there. And this sucker is the one that has been cracked open. So for those who do not know, that Tavor is out there. TAVOUR. And for those who are looking to get some out-of-state brews that are around the country and taking away your Christmas budget like it certainly as hell did for me this past few weeks, there are quite a few brews that you can go out there and you can order, and they will have those suckers shipped to your house for the low price of $14.90. But, of course, that is just the shipping because the beer is sometimes not cheap, like Fremont's Brew 3000, the barley wine, or the Dark Star barrel age coffee, or maple syrup vanillas that are out there. So definitely you can go out there. There's the app that is out there in Android and Apple Store, because I don't do Apple, so I always forget about damn Apple. But it is out there. You can definitely buy some brews, pick them up, and our our promo code is still out there, ROBEAR, ROBEAR, which for new users, anybody who spends $25 on beer, you will get yourself a $10 credit towards more beer that you want to buy.
So $25 means $35.
Yeah. So, like, if you go out there right now and you get the Fremont
Or
Brew 3000,
$25 means your shipping's only $4.99.
yeah, pretty much.
Math.
Good point.
Math. Good math. Good math.
I was very good at math in school.
Were you?
Until they introduced letters and shapes.
Geometry and algebra?
Like,
I was okay with shapes. It was the letters that threw me
like,
off.
why
I-
does this equal I?
So here, like, I learned math via bowling scoring because when I started bowling, there was no electronic scoring. Still, it was all manual. So I learned how, like,
How old are you, Ken?
man, I'm only 33, asshole.
Young
Just
lad.
because you're the baby at the table doesn't
I
mean.
doubt
Wait,
that. Hold on. I
are you
doubt
the-
that. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
are.
baby at the table.
No, he's younger than me.
Yeah, younger. How old are you?
29?
He's the baby that.
Fucking baby.
Yeah. He doesn't know
hell?
what hand scoring is for bowling.
I do too.
So that's
I went to
that's,
Michigan State.
He grew up on the west
Go
side.
green.
What's that?
The white.
He grew up on the west side.
So
that's
what?
that's exactly how I learned how to like really easy math. Like I could do math, and then I worked at a bank, which then I could really do
27
math.
plus 10.
37.
All you damn babies in here. You grew up with some 80s cartoons.
Just there
all
were no
y'all.
cartoons in the 1880s when you were alive. God damn.
Let's get it right, damn it.
Hey, 1880s, my ass was just barely free, so fuck off.
Wow. That got dark fast.
Oh, come on.
Thank God for alcohol.
I'm glad to enlighten y'all, motherfuckers.
So former host Dan posts in the chat, when I started bowling, there were people that manually set the pins. I love Dan.
There's still places like that in Wyandotte.
What do you guys think of the so we got the Ascension that's been passed around. There we
Cinnamon,
go.
hazelnut, vanilla, Gorilla Juice.
I mean, everything. Yeah. It's like the cinnamon hits up front. I mean, usually with hazelnut, it's very particular with me because I've had so much of odd sides hazelnuts that I've kind of grown tired of it. And it's like, all right, either you need to put more hazelnut in this or I'm pretty much done. And I mean, it feels like there's so much cinnamon in it that I don't get enough vanilla.
I agree.
So one of the big things that somebody asked, and to mention Tavour real quick, Rob, how well does the beer get packaged for Tavour?
The beer gets packaged pretty damn well. It pretty much shows up in a box. There is cardboard inserts that has all of the cans and the bottles that are separated. So they do a pretty decent job. I've had so far my own personal boxes that have shown up, and the boxes that have shown up for us. All of them have turned out pretty damn well, except for there was really the first one that we had where for some reason a can got slightly oxidated and it caused an issue. But actually, there was actually nothing wrong with the can. It just happened had to crack that one open sooner. But the packaging is done really well, and everything is relatively secure.
So we are nearing the end of the year, and so many breweries have opened. So many things have updated. We've talked about how breweries have closed. So we've got like Andy from Cellarman's over at Urban Rest, Ian from Cellarman's over at Griffin Claw, Kevin DeVries is now over at Blake's Hard Cider. You got Chris Hakery, who is over at Austin Brothers, I think now.
Yes.
Yep.
Jeff is over at Ellison.
Jeff Sanchez over at Ellison.
One of the brewers from Ascension is now the head brewer at the Ferndale Project.
That just announced today.
Yes.
Just announced today. And then the
Hold
guy.
on. Time out. What was that? Who's moving over to the Ferndale Project? Is that Sabo?
Mike.
I think that was Mike.
Okay.
Mike.
I know Brandon Sabo over at Ascension. So
No, it was Mike from Ascension that's
Okay.
going over to Ferndale.
I've begged and pleaded and texted and annoyed Dan Riley to try to get the recipe for brick from Milking It. He
Shout out to my
has
brother
it.
from
He
another
owns
mother.
it. He actually told me he knows where a keg is of this beer.
Really?
I don't know how that beer is going to phase
Oh, right.
5 years after it's existed.
I mean, you do you still have those bottles of E&B?
Oh yeah, I still have EMB. I still have Stroh's Light.
That those bottles are like at
Some of those oil cans.
How old are those damn bottles?
I think EMB went out of business in the 60s before it came back for its like secondary market type thing. I don't know who makes EMB
You
now.
were supposed to crack those open like almost a year
Secondary
ago.
market, is it? I mean, they've hit the market back.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
secondary market has a different definition. So I
Yeah,
just wanna-
what I meant by secondary market is it's EMB the name, not necessarily EMB the recipe.
Yes. Well,
Kind of like Stroh's. Stroh's over at Brew Detroit is Stroh's.
Right.
Brew Detroit, not Stroh's. Stroh's, Milwaukee, Miller, or whatever.
now, as a correction, I think they are using the same recipe. Some things they do tweak, but it's not the original brewery brewing it. Because
I don't know who makes EMB now.
I have no idea about EMB. I know we carried it at one point, and we don't have it.
Yeah, it was
anymore.
a special release for like bottles. I know Altus is back.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Because we had Altus on the show when we did the Jimmy John show.
Oh, and Chris just commented that he knows where cans of brick are.
Oh my God, Chris Hakery, I need to talk to you, buddy.
You about to get a phone call, bro?
Yeah, He's up in Alpena, so therefore he might know where there's
How
some.
well do you think those are holding up?
Well, they're 5 years old, and there was a canning issue with some of the last milking it. They exploded on your shelf, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They exploded on your shelf.
I had Axel product, Rochester Mills product, and
Axel or milking it?
Axel when it was
Somebody, I hear
it,
somebody's volume by the way
might
on the
be
show.
me.
Yeah, it was Axel's product when it was made by Milking It, and it was Rochester Mills product when it was made by. I'm pretty sure it was Rochester Mills at the time. It's been a while, so I'll take the Rochester Mills back. But it was Axel for sure that exploded on the shelf.
Yeah, that was during when Milking It sold to Axel, and they had the whole transformation. They went from 16s to 12 ounces because they used to sell the Michigan. I always called them Michigan 8-packs, which was 6 16-ounce cans.
Right.
Michigan 8-packs.
That makes. And actually, he just commented that it was brewed at Motor City, which I'm assuming Motor City Brewing Works. So.
Oh yeah, right there in Canfield.
Yeah. Which that is really making me want to go out there for a barbecue chicken pizza
That is for EMB.
I love their pizza.
Oh my god.
Their pizza is really really good.
I like the Coney pizza.
Oh.
That pizza's
Barbecue
delicious.
chicken. That's it. That's all I get.
I'm gonna have to get half and half. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely I haven't had pizza in a year and a half.
Whatever keto.
Keto.
Whatever keto. I know. And honestly,
Dude, that's hard. I had a slice of pizza and I had a slice of pizza at Nick's wedding in October of last year and I got sick.
I mean, I did keto
Wow.
for 6 whole hours, and I know that shit is hard. I know that shit is hard.
Were you asleep? Were you asleep at that point? Passed out, drunk?
That shit is hard. I get it.
What
I
about
get it.
cauliflower crust? Can you do cauliflower crust?
Sometimes you can do cauliflower crust. It kind of depends because cauliflower crust still has a lot of carbs in it. It doesn't have the dietary fiber that kind of adjusts it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it just kind of depends, but most of the time, no. You need like a chicken parmesan
Chicken.
crust.
Yes.
What?
Dearborn,
Yeah.
I think, makes one. There's a place in Dearborn that makes like a chicken crust pizza. I know Lou Minotti's over in Chicago makes a chicken or a sausage crust pizza.
I like sausage.
We're all over the place. What am I? I'm drinking the coffee vanilla
Gorilla juice?
Gorilla
Right, and-
Manila.
And I've got
I need more
the
bourbon to hang out with you guys.
transcontinental is kind of
Oh, I
passing
need to try
around.
that still.
So we need to kind of try this and pass this sucker around.
Oh, yeah,
see
good
how that
idea.
sucker is going. Which I actually haven't had
you
anything
can just
of it
pour
yet.
me a little bit,
What's this one? This was the second
A little bit.
This is
a little bit,
This is that one.
Okay.
like to the ice. Yeah, that's perfect.
You drinking an IPA? What the hell?
Honestly, that's perfect. That gives me enough.
Well, it's like a keto IPA for him.
Yeah, just a taste.
I
You
mean,
can,
it-
you can mark
well,
taster.
So,
on Untappd.
your cousin Roni is in the chat from San Diego.
Yeah, it's from San Diego. First cousin.
There's actually a fun little fact. There's a new brewery, a second brewery that's coming up in San Diego. Not the second, but a second of a version of breweries in San Diego. I think it's called Bay City Brewing. I'm gonna look it up right now because I actually know. But it's actually opening at the end of this month.
Hopefully, no one in Bay City opens up a brewery called Bay City.
Yeah, it's called Bay City Brewing, which they have one in San Diego, and they're opening up a second one. I don't know where, but they're opening up a second one. So if you like Bay City Brewing, you can go to the second one.
I mean,
Kind of like
are they going to come out with a beer called SATURDAY night?
Saturday?
All right, guys, before we forget, because we are definitely drinking a lot, let's
No.
give out one more gift card.
One more.
Again, if you don't want a gift card, you can still go to Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of
I recommend it
59,
all the time.
and go say hi to Jack, who is on the show right
Cheers.
now. 10% off any beer or liquor, or excuse me,
No,
beer or wine.
Beer
Beer
wine.
or
Not
wine.
liquor.
Beer or wine. Basically, anything that's not liquor, you can get 10% off. What about cigars?
Why not?
Why not, he says. 10% off cigars, including Matt's favorite.
Attaboys.
It's a boys.
It's a boys.
It's a
It's a
boys.
It's a boys.
All right, so we are going to start scrolling up, and I'm gonna tell you when I start, and then
Let
you're
me
going to
know,
tell me
please
when to
do.
stop. So I am going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So Jack's
Did you
going to...
start from the top, or did you go like?
I'm starting from the most recent posts.
Oh, stop.
All right. Well, technically, the winner is Jack Zatuna.
All right, disqualified. Let's try this
Wait, I
again.
didn't know that I could.
Disqualified right away.
You're disqualified, Wendy, if you decide to watch.
All right, the winner is going to be Tony
I know. Tony.
Lastomersky.
Wow, talk about butchering a name.
Damn, Ken, reading.
Lastomersky.
Tony-
Lastomersky.
Tony, you and
Let's
Tracy have a
tell me-
$50 gift card to the store. You're good.
Yay!
Sorry, I'm posting it right now, so I'm going to tell Ed to start talking.
Hey, Skylar.
Hey, you
Ed,
won.
Start talking. Congratulations. to- to-
Congratulations.
to Tony.
Tony and
to
Tracy.
you, Tony.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
that all-
What do you got, Robert?
Oh, I got stuff. Yeah, I got things.
You got like 3 minutes, bro.
Oh. Well, I guess we could talk about one thing because
One
it was,
thing.
it was one thing that I came across regarding a store in Omaha because it's somewhere in the middle of America that you got that. Good. Nebraska Furniture Mart customers can now sip beer, wine, and coffee while shopping at the Omaha store. And this little insert in there called Base Camp is going to feature a full coffee program with options ranging from basic drip coffee to specialty espresso drinks, in addition to domestic and craft beers, wine, and pastries. The one thing I'm kind of wondering is being able to drink while you are shopping for furniture. I mean, is this kind of, a niche thing that suddenly it's kind of like the shock value thing to do in Omaha?
It's an amazing thing.
Or is you're
I'm gonna
shopping
be
for
honest,
furniture.
When you're holding a drink or you're sitting down, because a lot of people are sitting down on their couch or sitting down at their kitchen table eating. And if you can give me the experience of how I'm going to drink or how I'm going to like sit down and watch, because I can kick up my feet on the ottoman. I might not buy the ottoman, but I can kick up my feet on there. But if you could give me the experience, I have my pint glass and I'm watching around. Obviously, it's a store model. Hopefully, they have some type of precautions.
So
100%.
I mean, let's go hyper local. A Gardner White or an Art Van. Suddenly, you're able to have a Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo while
Hell
you're sitting on
yeah.
the couch.
I'd be shopping
let's.
for
what is-
furniture much more often.
I would go for like Mr. Blue Sky, not Flying Buffalo.
Yeah, not
but
Flying Buffalo. Yeah.
Like something easy to drink that I know that I can have the experience of what I would be drinking while I'm watching TV.
While you're watching those shitty ass Lions.
Oh,
Jack.
God.
I canceled my YouTube TV account like a month early because of these lines.
That's supposed
So,
to be
let's
PC.
be
No
honest.
politics, no lions, and no religion.
No,
right?
There's no Lions in that.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This past year, I was in Seattle visiting my brother, and we went to a kilt shop because he wanted to shop for a new kilt, and they
new kilt.
offered me a beer. He did not take one. He was
Did they
not
offer
willing
you
to spend the
two?
money, and I
Right.
was like, "You should totally get that."
I mean, should this be
I'm
just?
like, "This is awesome."
I mean, should
you
this just
need
be
that.
the retail experience now? You go to Best Buy, you're shopping for a computer, and all of a sudden it's like,
They're
oh,
handing you a
hey,
beer?
yeah, they're handing you a beer. I mean,
Is that?
Well, see, guys,
should that be the move now? Because I mean, obviously we already have it in grocery stores. I mean,
goes
we
to
have it in
Best Buy for a
Kroger
computer?
or Whole Foods where you can do
I
that.
can't.
what
no,
Kroger is
no,
that
not
in?
in
Wait,
Kroger. What?
Wait, what
Kroger are
Kroger
you
is that
talking
in? Because
about?
I want to
Time
go
out.
there.
Hold on, time out. Let me explain some part of the rule over here.
All right.
In the state of Michigan, you could be at a shop and sample wine and walk around in like Whole Foods or Papa Joe's in Rochester
Trader Joe's.
and so forth, as long as they don't sell liquor. If they sell liquor, they can't have that license. It's another license.
Ah.
So, an art van could start carrying wine just for that purposes and have you have a glass of wine with you and go from there. I'm not sure about the beer part, to be honest,
Yeah.
but I know you could do it with wine.
I'm sure all the furniture has
But
Scotch Guard anyway.
if
It's just
you
they're trying to
have-
sell it to your ass.
If you sell liquor in that establishment, you can't do that. So the places that have it don't normally have liquor. Or, when I say liquor, I mean hard alcohol
Yeah.
versus wine and beer.
Spirits.
Yes. So that said, yeah, that's doable. That's why when you said which, Kroger. Some Krogers do just beer and wine. Some Krogers do beer, wine, and liquor for whatever reason that they choose, and with state laws and so forth.
I'm not talking about selling though. I'm talking about sampling.
Yeah, I want to know, where are you going?
Where are you going?
You can't sample that.
'Cause I would like to
legally,
do
in the
that
state of
while I'm
Michigan, there's a
grocery
lot
shopping.
of rules, and in the state of Michigan, an art van probably could get a license to
Yeah.
sample wine, but if they sold liquor there, they wouldn't be able to pull that off.
Now, you mentioned a lot of rules. Have you thought of another law you might want to change before we close
No,
it out?
no, still the drinking in the shop is probably, which is what we're talking about right now, still qualifies.
All right.
I don't know how much time we have left.
We're about done.
We're done. Well, I guess I'll take another pull to go to Zero and Liquor, get 10% off of your purchase this coming week. I think I'm invited again soon, right?
Yeah, you're invited again whenever I want you to.
Oh, God. Next year it is.
Whenever you pay the bills. Next year, he says, in 3
Whenever
weeks.
you collect the bills.
Listen, Wendy, you've only been here for 2 hours.
I'm trying to get the extra discount.
You get the extra discount by going there and saying you're part of Better on Draft.
Right.
Guys, Zatuna Liquor, go get 10% off. Don't forget to check out our other sponsors. North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan. Guys, they're moving next year. They're moving to downtown Northville because they are that small town,
Moving on up.
like local pub, able to grow because they have that small town feeling. They don't need to grow. They don't need to do anything. They need to make more of that ultraviolet.
Shout out to Cody.
Shout out to Cody for sure. She makes great beer over there. That's going to do it for us. Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of
Shout out
M59.
to everyone that came to watch us live and put up with us.
Guys, we've been trending like 20 to 30 viewers live. I know we get a lot of people that kind of like pop in, pop out, but most of our viewers are on podcast. So I appreciate you coming to
Definitely.
to listen, to view, to chat. I know we have a lot of people in chat. Like Dan's talking about, you can walk around and drink in Fry's in Arizona. Excuse me. So Fry's is a computer store. That'd be dangerous for me because I'd be buying a bunch of stuff.
Oh
It's
my
warm
God.
and you can drink when you're shopping. That's not a good thing for me.
I've not been to Fry's in
One
years.
more thing, guys. If you want your music heard during the break, you can reach out to us betterondraft@gmail.com and you can get your music during the break. Don't let Brother Son be every single break. Send us a message. We will get you into the break. That's going to do it for us. Better on Draft podcast, episode 203. BetterOnDraft.com, Instagram Better on Draft, Twitter Better on Draft, Facebook Better on Draft. Untapped is Bod Podcast. And yeah, no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's
Better on Draft.
Better on draft.
Better on Draft. Have a good night. Peace.
Good night, everyone.